Happy Gilmore 2 is the sequel to the 1990s classic Happy Gilmore, which was a lot of people's first Adam Sandler movie. It was not my first time seeing Adam Sandler on the big screen. My first time seeing him was in a movie called Bulletproof. But Happy Gilmore was the second Adam Sandler movie that I watched when I was younger, and it came out right in the middle of the era where he was on fire. Billy Madison was already out. He would go on to do The Waterboy. Little Nicky was coming. So Adam Sandler was one of the comics that was delivering a lot of these 90s comedies. So here we have the sequel decades later. Now, this is not the first time this has obviously happened. The one that comes to mind immediately is the second Coming to America 2. Now, I watched Coming to America 2, and I reviewed it. I believe I reviewed it here on the channel, and that movie was a one and done for me. I liked Coming to America, and I like Happy Gilmore. I don't think either film needed a sequel, but that doesn't mean the sequels are going to be bad. So I watched Happy Gilmore 2, and I gotta say, it's exactly the same feelings. It's about a 2-hour movie, almost 2 hours. I don't feel like I've wasted my time. I had a decent time with it. There was a few good laughs in it. There was also stuff that did not land. It sort of depends on what kind of comedy you're into. Like, if you are into Adam Sandler type of comedy, like if you like the first movie, you'll probably laugh at least half the jokes in this one. The good thing is that a lot of the wacky characters from the first one came back. Unfortunately, because of some deaths, like, for example, Carl Weathers, not everyone could come back. But almost everyone that's still alive came back. Now, obviously, the question is, what has happened to Happy Gilmore since the first film? And the movie quickly catches you up at the very beginning about the last 3 decades of his life. Dude got married, had a bunch of kids, but there are some tragedies there. And the tragedies I felt were a bit off-putting. I don't want to go into spoilers in case you want to watch the movie for yourself, but I just felt like some of the events of Adam Sandler, well, of Happy Gilmore's past, I feel didn't have to go in the route they went in. So there are some characters that I felt that they didn't need to do what they did with them, but they did it anyways. I hope that makes sense. I'm trying not to spoil it. But the movie catches you up, and it features Happy Gilmore's return to extreme golf. The whole plot is that this new golf promotion has opened up, and they want Gilmore to come in and sort of be their spokesperson. But at this point, Happy Gilmore works at a grocery store, and he thinks that, you know, golfing is behind him. But as the film progresses, he learns that he has to go back to his roots, go back to what made him famous, and once again play. So it did follow the original. This movie, as I said about Coming to America 2, is completely harmless. If you're a fan of Happy Gilmore, the first one, and you see this film, I don't think you're going to waste your time. The same thing with Coming to America. But if you decide not to see it, like if you just say, I don't have time, and you're looking for something better to spend your time with, we've got Fantastic Four in the theater. We've got Eddington, which I haven't seen yet, but I want to see it. That's Ari Aster's new movie with Pedro Pascal and Joaquin Phoenix. I do want to check that movie out. I may check it out early next week. In other words, there are other things for you to watch if you don't care all that much. And the movie is not a movie where I can sit there and say, hey, if you love 90s Adam Sandler, drop everything you're doing, go on Netflix and watch it now. I'm not going to tell you that. It's basically thumbs in the middle. Does that make sense? If you want to see it, go for it. If you don't, don't. I already know some people are going to hate this movie and others are going to love it because comedy is subjective. Some interesting additions to this world is Happy Gilmore has a new caddy, and he's played by Bad Bunny. That's right, the rapper, singer, slash, part-time pro wrestler, is in this movie. And I'll be real with you, he's kind of funny. Bad Bunny is kind of funny. I could actually see him having a career in making movies. Maybe not as like the leading man, maybe not Denzel, but Denzel's best friend type of thing. Also, MJF, Maxwell Jacob Friedman, plays a Happy Gilmore's oldest son, and he's pretty damn funny as well. Like, MJF, I think, has great comic delivery, and I'm pretty sure that he was chosen because he's actually Jewish. Happy Gilmore, much like Adam Sandler in the real world, is Jewish, and I think maybe he chose these actors, like his children, because he's got a bunch of kids, to be all Jewish actors to kind of make everything fit. But I could be wrong about that because I don't know the backstory of the other actors. However, there is one actor that I was surprised to see, and that is Sonny Sandler, who is Adam Sandler's legitimate daughter, is in this film playing Happy Gilmore's youngest daughter. And she wants to be a dancer, and that also pushes the plot. Also, Haley Joel Osment is in this movie. That's right, the kid from Sixth Sense. He appears in this film. I wasn't expecting that. And we got to see the return of Steve Buscemi and Ben Stiller's characters. There's a couple more returns that I kind of don't want to spoil for you in case you want to see it, but a lot of the fan favorite characters did get brought back. One in particular had a couple of great scenes. And there's a handful of real golfers, real professional PGA golfers that appear in this movie playing, cartoon versions of themselves. Not literally animated, but, wacky alternate universe versions of themselves in the world of Happy Gilmore. The thing about Happy Gilmore is that's always been a movie that resonates with 90s people, like, that era of movies like this, and when Martin Lawrence was putting out comedies, and Will Smith and Ben Stiller was making movies, Jim Carrey. The 90s era of comedy has a ton of nostalgia for people that are around my age group, and Happy Gilmore, right next to Billy Madison, that 1-2 combination, was always seen as being responsible for Adam Sandler's career. Even though his performances in these films are much more comedic versus his really great performances, like, for example, when he was in Uncut Gems. That's a really great performance. Or Punch Drunk Love from Paul Thomas Anderson. He's a very flexible actor. But I think Happy Gilmore, like, this movie was meant to tug on the nostalgia strings of people who grew up with the first one. I just don't think it's as good as the first one because the first one sort of fits where it fits in the 90s. Now, it just feels just like Coming to America, where, Hollywood or Netflix is sort of looking to see, okay, what was popular 30 years ago? What was popular 40 years ago, 20 years ago? Let's do a sequel. Let's do a remake. That's pretty much been what Hollywood has become. Let's keep it a buck. And it feels like this movie is just another one of those. The difference, though, is that Adam Sandler is the co-writer of this film along with Tim Herlihy, both of which wrote Billy Madison, Happy Gilmore, The Wedding Singer. Like, they have been working together forever. So they're doing the best that they can to really recapture that magic. And there were a couple scenes in this movie there was a couple times where I really did bust out laughing. There were a couple of them, 2 or 3. But again, you may not agree. You may see this movie and just not think it's funny because comedy's subjective. But it does try to follow along with the same themes of the original, Happy Gilmore's temper, these characters that are just so, I think Sandler could have made a cinematic universe with all these characters. You know what I mean? So Happy Gilmore 2 on Netflix right now. Doesn't cost you anything extra besides your Netflix, monthly fee. You might as well see it. It's a little under 2 hours if you like the first one. but I think most of you will probably watch it and say, that was okay. It's a one and done. Like, I haven't seen the original Happy Gilmore in a long time. I don't think that's a one and done. I think you can watch that a few times, but it's not one of those films that you can go back to, multiple times a year. It just isn't. But still a fun time. So, those are my thoughts. Take care.